Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name's Keir Smith, back today with a video I'll call Music Roundup Volume 2. I did one of these videos a while back and it basically gives me the excuse to waffle on about anything I want to really, so I will. Okay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is all of these videos that are popping up on YouTube talking about this miming issue, rock stars performing live but using backing tracks and miming to their songs. One of the many channels that I follow on YouTube is Michael Nolan, The Bottom Line. Great guy, love his channel, he knows his stuff, but he must have put up around about 10 or 15 videos now, absolutely seething at these artists for miming at live shows. In particular, he's calling out Don Henley and the Eagles, Roger Waters and Motley Crue. And I get what he's saying, of course I do. He's saying that it's dishonest and the ticket buyer is paying hundreds of pounds or dollars to go and see these artists, and of course they're not quite getting what they're paying for. They're not quite getting the full live experience. And Michael is aware that this all comes down to money. There's money on the table for these live shows, big money. The tour is booked, the show is announced, and the fans flock in their thousands to get these tickets, desperate to see these artists for either the first time or one last time. Don Henley is 76, Roger Waters is 80 I think, and Motley Crue are in their mid-60s. And therein lies the problem. These guys aren't spring chickens anymore, and I don't think that they can keep up with the pace of these live shows now. I don't believe that they can sing every 2 or 3 days. And I also think that this is a growing trend. I don't think things are going to change. I think that these artists will lean on the odd backing track and maybe mime a vocal or two here and there to get them through. And so we're all being made aware from these videos now that this is happening. You're not getting the full live experience that you've paid for. But do you think it's going to change? I certainly don't. And I'll bet my bottom dollar that these artists will continue to sell out. So you must forgive me for being a little bit cynical here, but I don't see anything changing, so who cares? For me personally, when I go to see a live show, I go to see the artist. Of course, I want to hear them singing live and I want it to be a good show. But I guess what I'm saying here is that I don't think the paying customer will mind that much. I firmly believe that this will continue, but I firmly believe that people will continue to go to see these shows. And they won't mind too much if there is the odd backing track used or there is the odd mime on a certain song. Do I agree with it? No, but I really don't see it changing, so I guess we'll have to get on with it. Like I said, there's too much money on the table here, and sadly that's what it comes down to. These artists will do the shows, get through the tour, scoop the money, and that's that. Michael Nolan is also keen on making lots of videos about ticket prices for these shows. He singles out Bruce Springsteen, Roger Waters, Paul McCartney, but listen, the fans will pay it. The fans will continue to pay it. Ticket prices will keep going up. The customers will get charged more and more and more, and they will still pay, they will still go, and they will still love it. That's it. I'm not normally this cynical. Maybe I got up on the wrong side of bed today, or maybe it's down to the fact that my football team lost again. But on that subject, a girl I work with actually has paid over £400 for very good seats at Wembley. Not the best seats, very good seats to see Taylor Swift. She's absolutely buzzing. She can't wait. And speaking of Taylor Swift, I raced out last week and bought her new album, The Tortured Poets Department. Very good. Early favourites include Fortnite, But Daddy I Love Him, the title track, and My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys. All really good songs. My early impressions are that the music is very much secondary to what Taylor is singing about. The musical arrangements are subtle and serve as a mere backing to Taylor's tales of woe. A lot of the lyrics on the album relate to her split from her longtime boyfriend Joe Alwyn, and possibly a split from Matt Healy from the 1975, although the clues are in the lyrics, but we're not sure which lyrics relate to which guy. And the big Swiftie fans are poring over these lyrics naturally. I do too, to a degree, but I just think she's a really good singer. I like the way she puts her words together, and I like the music too. She's good, man. And it may be a little too early to say, but this album could be her best sung album. Her singing's fantastic across these songs, full of emotion. I'm really enjoying it. And I was reading that, of course, this album is the fastest selling album of the year. It's outsold Beyonce's last album, Cowboy Carter, 7 times over. I was reading the other day that Morrissey has bought back the rights for 2 of his albums, one of them being World Peace is None of Your Business, and the other one is an unreleased album called Bonfire of Teenagers, which was due for release a couple of years ago now. But that album was pulled by his then label Capitol, and Morrissey is now out of that contract but remains unsigned. And for now, Bonfire of Teenagers will sit on the shelf gathering dust. Will we ever get to hear it? I'm optimistic, and to quote a Morrissey song, I know it's going to happen someday. It seems like the world doesn't want Morrissey anymore, but we need characters like Morrissey just to put the cat amongst the pigeons and ruffle a few feathers. Sure, his politics may be a little bit wayward, but who cares for politics? This is music. Let's hear it. What can I say? I'm a huge Morrissey fan. I've loved him for 25, nearly 30 years now. I've followed everything he's done. I absolutely adore him, and of course he's not everyone's cup of tea. I know he's a tricky customer, but he's a truly great artist, and we need those. Otherwise, Taylor Swift will dominate the charts forevermore. And talking of truly great artists, I mentioned in the first video, Music Roundup Volume 1, that if I did more of these videos, I'd let you know my current favourite Paul McCartney album, and that is Run Devil Run. Run Devil Run was an album of cover versions that Paul did back in 1999 with a great backing band, including Ian Paice of Deep Purple fame on drums and Dave Gilmour of Pink Floyd fame on lead guitar. And this album is a blast. Paul and his band rattle through 12 of Paul's early rock and roll favourites, and there's 3 original songs done in that 50s rock and roll style too, which are great. In particular, I like the raucous rockers like I Got Stung and She Said Yeah. Paul's original songs, Try Not to Cry and the title track, are both excellent, and it's all done with great vigour and enthusiasm. A really good listen. And of course, as a huge Beatles fan, I'm looking forward to seeing the newly restored Let It Be film when it's shown on Disney Plus, early May I think. The original film has always had this bad reputation that there was no joy in it and the Beatles were forever squabbling and falling out, which of course is untrue, and for those who haven't seen it, when you do get to see it, you'll see that that was untrue. The original film was released in May 1970, a month after the release of Paul McCartney's debut album, McCartney, and that press release where he all but announced the Beatles split. And so it was a really sad time for Beatles fans, and I think that the split and the breakup of the band cast a shadow over the film. There's plenty of great moments in that film that weren't shown in Peter Jackson's Get Back. You see the band rattling through songs like Dig It and Susie Parker, which are really good fun. And there's a really good bit which I've always liked where Paul and John are at the mic singing Two of Us, and they're doing the take. It's all very professional at first, and then John starts goofing around, Paul goes along with it. That's really good fun too. And of course, I'm sure we'll see a Blu-ray and DVD release of that film soon, and of course I'd welcome that. I'd also like to talk about Sting for a minute and what a great artist he is. I've listened to all of the Police albums recently and some of Sting's solo albums. Just fantastic stuff. And what a great bass player he is. There's 2 songs in particular on Zenyatta Mondata, Driven to Tears and When the World is Running Down, You Make the Best of What's Still Around. Great bass lines. And his bass line on Spirits in the Material World from the Ghost in the Machine album. Just brilliant. And if you like that song, I urge you to check out the video on YouTube where you can hear his isolated bass part. It's so good. Dare I say it, it's possibly my favourite song by the Police. Yeah, I'll go with that. It's my favourite song by the Police. And I love Sting's lyrics too. These weighted themes are put across in an easy to digest way, the way that the lyrics rhyme, but it's not just rhyming for rhyme's sake. He puts it together really well. Our so-called leaders speak with words they try to jail you. They subjugate the meek, but it's the rhetoric of failure. Outstanding stuff. And there's a song on his first solo album, The Dream of the Blue Turtles, a song called Russians. And again, this is a weighted theme where he's dealing with the Cold War. It's a doom-laden, synth-driven song, but it's a fantastic song. There's great lyrics in that too. In Europe and America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria. And later, there is no monopoly of common sense on either side of the political fence. These are great writers, Sting, absolutely. I heard the new single by the great David Gilmour the other day, The Piper's Call. I really enjoyed that. Really good jam at the end of that song with a blistering guitar solo, which we come to expect from Gilmour. Looking forward to his new album, Look and Strange, out on September 6th. And speaking of new albums, I'm looking forward to the new album by Paul Weller, 66, released on the 24th of May. and on the 25th of May, Paul Weller actually turns 66 years old. I heard the lead single, Soul Wandering. That was good, but I'm expecting better things from the album. And the Pet Shop Boys just released a new album on the 26th of April called Nonetheless. I'll be picking that up in due course. I wasn't aware that it was coming out, but I've been listening to a bit of the Pet Shop Boys recently. And whenever I think about the Pet Shop Boys, the first song that often comes to mind is a song from their second album, actually, and it's the closing track called King's Cross. Definitely a top 5, if not top 3 Pet Shop Boys song for me. Just a lovely, warm synth melody that permeates the song, and Neil Tennant delivers this deadpan vocal about his experience from coming down from Newcastle to London and seeing the violence and adjusting to life in London. It's a beautiful song. I love it and I strongly recommend it. And finally, did anyone listen to the new Lennon-McCartney song? James McCartney and Sean Lennon, a song called Primrose Hill. I only listened to it once, but I rather liked it. Melodic, enjoyable. Why they did the song, I don't know. I didn't know that they were working together, so I'll have to read up on that. There wasn't any typical build-up and hype that's possibly befitting of two Beatles sons working together. Obviously, it's grabbed my interest, and I'd certainly welcome an album's worth of them two working together. Okay, that just about wraps up Music Roundup Volume 2. Thanks for listening to me waffle on. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, please leave any thoughts and comments down below, and I'll see you for the next video very soon. Peace and love. Bye for now.